do 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 do. Boo ba doo boo 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 boo. Ba doo boo.
Hey, Dad.
Hey, son.
Dad. It's a good movie.
You just watched
2001
Space Odyssey.
A Mario Odyssey.
What did you think?
Oh, I didn't like it.
It was kind of slow moving in parts.
Slow moving in parts? That's an understatement. It's an understatement of the millennium.
I just think you're not used to the way that films used to be paced.
Look, I saw King Kong, and it's older than this. And it was paced so much better than this. This is one of the worst paced movies I've seen in my entire life.
I think it was supposed to be a spectacle.
A spectacle?
Yep, a spectacle.
A spectacle. Well,
It was spectacular.
maybe, it could have been trying to be entertaining, right? That's what movies are supposed to be. You
I thought
remember?
it was interesting.
Yeah, I guess it's interesting, because after Hal dies, after they, reboot Hal or whatever happened at the end, I just was like, what the hell is going on? Because, after that, it just lost. It just threw out any semblance of reality that was even keeping the movie intact whatsoever.
Yeah, that scene at the end with, the... What is the name of that? It's like the Universe Child or the Star Child or something Child. I don't remember. I read the novel a long time ago when I was your age.
This is kind of one of those... It's not... It's obviously trying to be, realistic.
Yeah, I guess.
It's not one of those movies where it's just being crazy. It's kind of
No.
it's crazy.
But there's some magical realism in it as well with whatever space being this is. We don't really know more. The sequels of the books actually explain more about what's going on. But yeah, for now, we don't know.
Yeah.
That last bit, some sort of transformation takes place.
I tell you this though, the beginning part was really out of place. Did we need to show?
It's 17 minutes of apes, right?
Yeah, and I'm just if they want first, I don't think it was necessary to show apes coming up with tools. I know they're kind of trying to show this is how people came up. This started the chain reaction to become turn into Hal or whatever. But now I'm well, maybe you should have just shown us them creating Hal. You don't need to show the ape first making the tool, which he hilariously uses to smash up a skull. What was the point? But whatever. Even if you were gonna shoot that, even if you were gonna do that, then I don't know why you needed to make it so long. There is so many parts of it that I just thought were useless. We just see apes acting like apes.
Yeah.
For so long.
Then they start to use tools, and then they murder people. So...
Oh, they murder animals.
Which day of... Well, then they murder each other.
Yeah.
Which day of Christmas is this?
This is the
Fourth?
The fourth day of...
Fourth day of Christmas.
Yeah.
So this is our fourth movie in the fourth
Yeah.
day of Christmas. Okay, so would you recommend this movie?
No. If you're a big science fiction guy, then I guess you could watch it just because everybody's going to ask you to watch it. But honestly, the movie isn't good. Honestly.
I think it's worth a viewing. Honestly, I remember reading the book and its sequels and liking it better. The movie never really struck a chord with me. I liked it better actually now than I did when I was younger. But
maybe you get some of the symbolism.
I don't know that it was symbolism. I think it's just more about, like I said, the spectacle.
Also,
I like slower-paced movies, though.
There are times where there are shots of just this pod turning around, and it's it's not that long. It's a minute of the thing turning around. I'm why? This isn't necessary. Cut away. You could cut this movie down, and you could cut You could cut like half an hour from this movie of just stupid, pointless footage of just things happening. Like, these are pointless things that happen. These are super mundane. I mean, yeah, I guess they're not mundane for us, but they're mundane for them. And when they act like they're mundane, they're mundane. These aren't cool things. These aren't explosions. There's no tension. The only thing I think, well, that kind of breaks the, it's kind of a difference, is in, let me see if it's still recording. Yeah, it's recording. The only thing that's different for that is, like, I don't know if you've ever seen, oh, sorry, I meant, like, at the end of the movie when he kills Hal, that is really good. I know it takes a long time, but aside from Hal, like, repeating the phrases, was kind of frustrating, but, like, it actually really, really built up tension extremely well.
I think the scene when Frank and Dave are in the pod and trying to hide from Hal also is similar to that.
Yeah, but at least that kind of conversation made sense. Like, I wasn't bored during that. It showed, like, Hal trying to come up with things. I just don't know why Hal killed those guys that were in hibernation.
Yeah.
Why did he do that?
Couldn't jeopardize the mission.
Why would they jeopardize the mission?
Oh, I don't know.
They were there to help with the mission.
I don't know. It seemed to me like Hal was jeopardizing the mission. But
yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, so our review is you do not recommend. I recommend with reservations.
I call this can you move your legs so I can push this cushion in? Because this cushion, people keep pushing out this cushion. It's not a very good cushion.
Okay.
I don't know. I'd call it an out-of-body experience.
I think that's what Dave experienced at the end of the movie. All right.
No, we're not done.
Oh.
There's a lot to talk about. We've only been filming for 5 minutes.
What? Oh.
Yeah. And also, I haven't shown what's next.
Oh, what's next?
E.T.'s next.
E.T., I don't like that movie.
Eddie is next. But after that, there's also, what would you give this out of 10?
This?
Yeah.
6.
6 out of 10. I give this...
7.
I give this a 4 out of 10.
I give it 7.
And obviously, this is ranking last in
How do you know?
my rank.
Well,
So
E.T.
far.
Well, okay, so what was the one we saw? Back to the Future. That's the only other one that I've seen
So
so
it's
far.
Schindler's List is at the top, and then Star Wars, and then Back to the Future, and then 2001: A Space Odyssey is last.
Well, since I haven't watched the other two, I'm still going with Back to the Future 2001. But Back to the Future has got to be, of those 4 movies that you mentioned, for me, it's at the top.
Yeah, but
But I just really like Back to the Future.
Schindler's List is really good, though.
Yeah.
But it's kind of hard to compare. This movie symbolizes everything I hate about sci-fi films in, like, old sci-fi books and films that thought that they were so genius by talking about, like, things that I guess could happen in the future. Like, they don't have anybody acting like actual people. And everybody is just, like, talking about, like, oh, what if in the future this bad thing happened? And then we got to talk about how the philosophy of this. And almost all the time, it's like, but that would never happen, though. And even if it did, that's stupid. Like, have you ever seen The Purge? That isn't a sci-fi movie, but The Purge, the entire movie of The Purge, the point of the movie is to stop people from doing the purge. The point of the movie is showing how the purge is bad. Which is, like, why would...
Of course the purge is
bad.
Like, self-evident.
Like, why would you even need this? But, yeah, it's not a sci-fi movie. But another one, I think my favorite example of this is Mortal Engines.
Oh.
I've never seen the movie, I've never read the book, but just the idea of, like, mortal engines. That would never happen. And obviously it's bad. Like, that's self-evident. You're killing people. This Like, I just thought, like, why? Though.
Yeah.
Like, this is pointless. Do you need this? Is it necessary?
Yeah, I know.
of like future technologies. I mean, it's just like, well, I mean, would you say this or Shining is better?
I haven't seen The Shining.
You haven't seen The Shining? I haven't seen it.
Well, I've
either.
seen about 3 minutes of The Shining when it was playing in the living room.
Did you say that was better than this?
I really like this, and I'm not sure I would like The Shining, but I might. I don't know.
I mean, it's like, because, I don't know. I mean, it's just like Stanley. These are like the two Stanley Kubrick films that are like the most famous films.
Mm. I don't know what to say.
Well, I mean,
I thought it was fine. I thought it was good. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I can see how a lot of people wouldn't.
I mean, it's just like bland. Turn that off. Like, you know, I mean, you can't like, it's kind of hard to talk because there's not very much substance in the film, honestly. There isn't much to talk about.
It's a lot of pretty shots of space and fabulous special effects for 1968.
Yeah, I mean, they still hold up.
Yeah, they do.
And I tell you this, though. I do not understand what people like this film. This is, like, it's not a film, honestly. You could say it would be closer to, like, it's kind of a lot more like, it would be better in, like, the Twilight Zone or something. Mm. Or, like, if you cut this film down, then it would be
like 40 minutes long.
Yeah, and you could make it a Twilight Zone episode, honestly. And it would probably be better, honestly. But if you're just talking about the pretty shots, then this is closer to a picture book than a film. Like, yeah, I mean, it's cool, but, like, if you're coming for a good story, then it just doesn't really deliver. And the thing about it is, though, that special effects and pretty film and symbolism are all there to aid the story. And that's what a movie is. Mm-hmm. It's a story. It's a tool to tell a story.
Well, I told a story.
Yeah, but not a very good one, though. One that didn't make very much sense. Like, okay, I know this movie is trying to act like this could actually happen in real life, but, like, you know what? I tell you this, the people that did this, if they had the ability to use more than one brain cell, then none of this would have ever happened. They were so certain, so sure, that no one would, like, that Hal would never malfunction, that they didn't put, like, any precautions in place to stop that from happening. Like,
You should Red Eye Robot.
that's some next level, like, confidence. Like, I don't know, I mean, I've never been an astronaut before, but if you've ever seen interviews for astronauts, you tell that there's literally a safety precaution on safety precautions. Did you know that literally when they came down from the moon, Neil Armstrong and those guys, when they came down from the moon, they had to spend like a month in solitary confinement just in case they got some extreme diseases that would spread super far. Of course, we learned later that solitary confinement wasn't very actually secure, and after a while they stopped doing that because the likelihood of that ever happening was basically non-existent. But I'm just saying that there has always been safety precautions on safety precautions. Yep. We do as much as we can to make sure that bad things don't happen. So I am surprised that there was not a switch to turn off Hal.
Yeah.
Like, to turn off his, like, brain. Like, you could turn off, you could make it so that, you know, there would be, like, mandatory things to make, like, keep the air circulating. But, like, turn off, like, something with, like, voice command. Like, if you ask him to do something. Like, if they had done that, then this movie would have never happened.
Hal's a great villain, though.
Yeah.
Scariest movie villain ever.
Well, I mean, some people say that, I don't know.
Scarier than Thanos, for sure.
I mean, Thanos isn't meant to be scary, though.
Scarier than Dormammu.
Well, again, Dormammu is not meant to be scary, though.
How is he not meant to be scary?
He's kind of meant to be, like, an action movie villain. He's not meant to be, like, scary, like how Hal is.
He's pretty. Hal is, wow. That's a great character.
How about Michael Myers?
Michael Myers is not really that scary.
Yeah, I guess I agree. I mean, he wasn't very scary in Austin Powers or in Shrek.
Anyway.
But I mean, you know, what about Hannibal Lecter from Silence of the
Also
Lambs?
scary. I don't know. He's kind of got this HAL 9000 vibe about him.
Well, he's not robot. He's not cold and unfeeling. How about the guy from Misery?
I've never seen that movie.
I read the book with Stephen King, but or Pennywise, people call it.
I've not read that.
Or have you seen the movies?
No.
All three of them? Big fan of those movies, right?
I've seen none of the movies. I remember when the book came out.
Yeah, that book that weighs 10 pounds or something.
It weighs a lot.
Why is it so heavy? Why does a book need to be so large?
Just get your money's worth.
Yeah, but you know, what would you say about the books though?
About the 2001 books?
Yeah.
Space Odyssey books? They were favorites of mine. I liked the 2001 so much I read the sequel. Then I read the next sequel, 2061. I've never read 3001 because that came out a lot later and I hadn't read the books in, at that point, probably 15 years. So it was off my radar. But I really, really liked the books.
Man,
but I don't really
15
remember what
years.
happens in them.
This guy's like levels of like Martin levels of slacking off. Takes him 15 years. For
I
the
don't
next
think
one
anybody was
series.
ever expecting a sequel. Like, I don't know, maybe people were.
Did they wrap it up at the end?
Yeah, I don't remember. Like, the books don't really require another one to follow them. Like, it's not like Game of Thrones where it's like there's the story's, not finished. Like, that's not how the 2001 Space Odyssey books are.
Yeah, because the character's dead, right?
I don't remember.
I mean, if they were like, even if they were born in 2000.
I literally don't remember anything that happens in 2010 or 2061. I have no memory at all of the plot of the books. Or the cast of the characters. I just remember really liking them. I wouldn't have read them if I didn't like them.
Yeah, I tell you, but though.
I think I was in 8th grade.
I mean, I read books that I don't like just because I've heard good things, but I'm just saying. But like, even if the characters were born in 2061, then they would have been like long dead by 3000, right?
I think Frank is one of the characters in 3001. You know, the guy who got lost in space.
But he died though.
I think he's a character in 3001. But I haven't read
3001 or is it 3000?
3001.
3001 is Space Odyssey.
Yeah, I haven't read the book, but I think he's a character in it.
I wonder if they're gonna like pull Dr. Sleep on the 2001 series.
I don't know what you're talking about, but
Like, okay,
but Arthur C. Clarke is no longer alive to write any more sequels, so.
No, I meant like by that was that there's a book called Dr. Sleep made by Stephen King, right?
Yes.
It's a sequel to The Shining.
Okay.
And then they made a movie out of it years like it just came out after.
Yeah.
Like just like this year. And it was made by a completely different person. And it was like a modern sequel to a Stanley Kubrick film. So, don't you think that they might do that? I mean...
Well, it's always possible. Who knows? If there are audiences for this film, maybe there's...
Audiences? I mean, this is the most successful sci-fi film until Star Wars.
Star Wars came out 40 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
Well, longer than
But
that.
this movie came out... This movie came out before Star Wars. So.
Yeah, like 50 years ago. This movie is 50 years old.
I mean, it's old.
51 years old.
2051: A Space Odyssey.
Anyway.
I mean, there's not really much else to say because the movie is really not that thick. There's not much to say.
Wow. It's a good movie.
Good movie.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, well, I guess we can just have different opinions about that. So, I mean, why not, right? So, I mean, next, be ready for E.T. Who wants to do E.T.?